What does that mean? Like throwing away things that you shouldn't throw away?
Throwing away, maybe here's a good example. Like you blow your nose and instead of throwing it into the wastebasket, you throw it into the toilet and flush.
Yes, guilty. I have done that.
Okay, don't do that.
Okay. What is the perfect bite? That mix of flavors, textures, colors, and aromas that come together in one amazing amuse-bouche. Big ideas expressed in small bites. That's our podcast, a variety of inspiring topics to make your financial goals and dreams a reality.
Brought to you by Clark County Credit Union for your weekly serving of food reviews, financial education, and life hacks that your future self will appreciate. It's the perfect bite of interesting information to start your week. Welcome to episode 57 of The Perfect Bite. I'm Crystal Price.
And I'm Shannon Hiller. Let's dig in. We love trying new dishes here at The Perfect Bite, and Paymon's Fresh Kitchen and Lounge is a new favorite. Next, we'll talk about how long it takes to get a HELOC. And finally, we'll share some water-saving tips in preparation for the Las Vegas heat.
Each week on The Perfect Bite, we'll visit a locally owned Southern Nevada restaurant that we hope will become your new favorite. This week, we're sharing a new favorite, Paymon's Fresh Kitchen and Lounge. They're located on Sahara. Have you ever been there, Shannon?
I have. It's been a little while, but I remember really liking it. It's like Mediterranean food, right?
Yeah, it's Mediterranean. Mm-hmm. I've driven past that area so many times, and it stands out. It's got that nice bright green on the marquee, but I've never been, and so finally I was meeting up with one of our United Way partners, and he recommended this place. So I'm like, okay, let's go check it out, and it was so good. I did like the classic kebab. Mm-hmm. The broiled steak, and the way that they serve it's a full plate. You know that they do like the combos. So roasted tomatoes, sautéed vegetables, basmati rice. The total for that was like $21.95. But everything with most Mediterranean is like so fresh. Everything was delicious. I did something that I've never done before, but he was like, mix your the tzatziki. Am I saying that right? Sauce?
Tzatziki is what I don't know. That's what I say.
Mix it with the rice. And I'm like, wait, what?
Oh,
Have you tried that before?
That, no.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, let's just do it. You know, we're doing it for the podcast. Let's be brave and adventurous. And it was the best rice ever.
Sounds good.
Super good. And the tzatziki, if you're not familiar with that, it's their classic sauce. It's yogurt, cucumber, garlic, vinegar, all mixed together. Very fresh and refreshing. And yeah, it just elevated the rice to a whole other level. Another thing that we tried while we were there was he asked the waitress for fry sauce. And I'm like, fry sauce? We don't even have fries.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. She comes out, and I guess it's also called Athens fry dipping sauce. They can serve it with fries. But what we did is we dipped like the meat, we dipped the veggies, all of the stuff into it, and it was delicious. So when I was doing research for this, for today's episode, I was like, well, let me just look into it because it can't be called fry sauce.
Well, fry sauce to me is in Utah, you can barely get ketchup because everyone wants fry sauce.
Yes.
And it's essentially just like mayonnaise and ketchup.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't sound too good, but all right, we'll try it. But no, it's something completely different. And in my research, I saw that Las Vegas Weekly actually named Paymon's Athens fry dipping sauce their best condiment in 2010. A quote from there said, who knows how many people have, like zombies, marched to Paymon's in need of this tangy sauce. So I can definitely see it. The sauce was amazing. I definitely would recommend it. I think when I go back, what I want to order is the chicken tandoori. Mm-hmm. The menu says it's an Indian specialty. So yeah, I'd like to dive deeper into that. But I think next time what I'll do also is definitely plan more time to enjoy the meal. I went during a work day. So our work lunch was like an hour, but I totally could have spent like 2 hours there just like savoring all of the different flavors and everything like that. But I enjoyed it. Do you have your go-to meal when you go there?
I usually always get some kind of a Greek salad.
Okay.
Yeah.
The salads are delicious.
I do remember the fry sauce, and they do have Greek fries, I believe.
Yes,
if you wanted to order those. So that's always a win.
Love it. Well, if you, our listener, have a recommendation for a restaurant or a dish for us to try, send us a message at theperfectbite@ccculv.com. We're always open to new ideas. A home equity line of credit, or a HELOC, is a revolving line that allows homeowners to tap into their home's equity up to a certain limit. Today, Shannon's going to break down the general timeline for obtaining your HELOC loan.
Yeah, so here in Las Vegas, home prices went up super high and they're starting to come down a little bit, but nevertheless, home values are still up for most people in Southern Nevada. And so you might have some equity there in your house. And a HELOC, like Crystal said, home equity line of credit, it's just a great way to access that value for your home. And people right now are thinking about home improvements, maybe medical bills, even tax bills. We were just talking before we started recording about the fun of taxes getting due here. So
much fun.
Yes, a lot of times people will use that equity to help pay for those immediate expenses. And so we wanted to just kind of set some expectations here for you today of if you were going to get a HELOC with Clark County Credit Union or elsewhere, what would you expect in the timeline? So generally it takes about 2 to 6 weeks to process a HELOC. And that really depends on, in large part, like you, how fast you get the documents to everybody and how organized you are.
It's not like a car loan. You're not going on the lot and getting the car tonight.
Right, exactly. There is a timeline here that you have to follow. So getting that already for your lender will really help the processing time and shorten that up. So first, you're going to gather up your documents, and a lot of those are readily available, but you might also need a home appraisal. And this can take about 1 to 2 weeks to get scheduled. So while you're waiting, just use that time to gather up the other documents you probably already have, but maybe not put together. Your ID, bank statements, pay stubs, mortgage statements, HOA fees, home insurance, all the stuff to kind of show about your home, right? Like document what you're owing and things like that. Then you submit your application and the lender will review it. And during that process, the lender may ask you some questions, ask for some additional documentation, and just get those over as quickly as possible. So again, to avoid delays, get those things to them because that process can take about 3 to 7 days. And then the next step is underwriting and loan approval. So you've met all the requirements, you have all the documents. Now they need to determine your credit worthiness to determine if you're eligible for a HELOC. They're going to look at your income, credit score, DTI, debt to income ratio, and that takes about 2 weeks to complete the loan approval process. So how many weeks are we in now? At least 3, depending on how fast you're going. And then we hope, we're going to close the process where you have to sign all the documents. It takes about 3 to 5 days, goes smoothly, and it's really worth noting like how much would closing costs and fees be, maybe even before you get this far into the process. So for instance, if you change your mind, you have 3 days to cancel the HELOC loan, and some call this a rescission period. If you want to apply for a Clark County Credit Union loan, we have a link on our website, ccculv.org. Also, we recently posted a blog, 3 smart things you can do with your HELOC, and we'll add a link in our show notes. Now we'll take a break to hear from our sponsor.
Clark County Credit Union members have received more than $73 million in bonus dividends since 2001 just for using the credit union services they need every day. Since CCCU is owned by our account holders, they earn the dividend, not shareholders. This year, we returned a $2.6 million bonus dividend to members with auto loans, credit cards, and checking accounts. Open an account today and start earning your own bonus dividend. Funds privately insured by American Share Insurance.
Next up is our Future Self segment inspired by the Happiness Project. So the heat is pretty much here in the valley, and to help with those future water bills, we collected some tips from conserving water from the Environmental Protection Agency. We're going to pick out a couple to go over today, but the full list we'll have available in our show notes. So from this list from the EPA, one of the recommendations was to never use your toilet as a wastebasket. Have you ever done this?
What does that mean? Like throwing away things that you shouldn't throw away?
Throwing away, maybe you... Here's a good example. Like you blow your nose, and instead of throwing it into the wastebasket, you throw it into the toilet and flush.
Yes, guilty. I have done that.
Okay, don't do that.
Okay.
I used to have a friend. It was so crazy. So she didn't even. It wasn't even like blowing her nose, like actual like tissue paper. But like whenever she did her hair, she would clean out her hairbrush and the hair. She was like very superstitious about somebody getting her hair, so she would throw it in the toilet and flush it. So friend out there, don't do that either.
Save the water.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Another thing is don't let the water run while you're shaving or you're brushing your teeth. I am sometimes guilty of this. My husband will call me out often and he'll be like, why are you brushing your teeth with the water on? Turn the water off. And I'm just like, okay, calm down. Every little bit makes a difference. Also, take short showers instead of hot baths. Tub baths. Also, turn off the water flow while soaping or shampooing. If you must use a tub, close the drain before you turn on the water and fill the tub only half full, and bathe small children together. I know that can be tough, especially when you've got kids running around and all the dirt and the muck, but it does save on the water consumption. Also, never pour water down the drain when there may be another use for it, such as watering a plant or a garden.
I do that when my kids leave their cups of drinks everywhere.
Same.
Throughout the house. And I'm like, oh, there's all this water.
Don't dump that.
Yeah.
Go take it outside. Yeah. In the kitchen and the laundry rooms, you can keep drinking water in the refrigerator instead of letting the faucet run until the water is cool.
I thought of that opposite for the shower. Like the bathtub. It's so crazy. No matter how hot it is, I feel like my water comes out cold and I have to wait at my house till I get hot water. So if I were to fill up the bathtub, it would be freezing. Yeah. You know, I'm always like, why is it so cold?
Yeah, so when Violet takes baths, the water does come out cold. So I will only turn on the hot nozzle. So that way the cold water's there. And the next thing you know, it's like super hot. So I just don't touch the water, Violet, while it's preparing. But it gives it time to warm up that cold water. So hopefully that will help. Another recommendation for the kitchen is to wash fruits and vegetables in a basin. Use a vegetable brush that will save some water usage. Also, don't use water to defrost frozen food. Thaw the items in the refrigerator overnight.
So you have to think ahead and not be last minute like I do.
24 hours. Not the same day.
Fine.
Use a dish pan for washing and rinsing dishes. Scrape rather than rinse dishes before loading into the dishwasher. Add food waste to your compost pile instead of using the garbage disposal. I don't have a compost pile, do you?
No, I feel like a lot of my friends in California do. I don't know if we have the right climate for it. I'm sure we could do it, but
it seems like some work to get installed, like that initial compost thing. But
well, then you have to like do something with the compost, and I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, we had to put some research into that.
Maybe I'll start a garden. I don't know.
Next future self.
Yeah. How do you compost?
Yes, exactly. For outside, here's some tips. Sweep your driveways, walkways, sidewalks, and steps instead of hosing them off.
Oh my gosh, I have a neighbor that does this. It drives me crazy. Oh. It's like this old man's like favorite thing. He just almost every morning hoses it off, and I'm like, the water, you just see it like running down the street, and it just makes me like so crazy. I'm like, how dirty could it be?
And that it was just really calming to do that, just water.
I think that's what it is. It's like a zen moment every morning.
Yes, times have changed, so we cannot do that anymore. You need to pull out that broom and sweep those driveways. Don't waste the water. Another recommendation is to wash the car with water from a bucket, so not that consistent spray of the hose going. Consider using a commercial car wash that recycles the water. I know I think almost all of them are like that now, even the ones with the sprayers, like somehow the water drains down and recycles,
that's awesome.
Which is pretty cool. And if you are using a hose, control the flow with an automatic shut-off nozzle. That is a huge saver because, it's how much water is just like leaking through when you're done. No, keep it in there with the nozzle. Also, avoid purchasing recreational water toys that require a constant stream of water. This is so sad because I definitely can relate to this. Violet last year for her birthday, one of the gifts that somebody gave her birthday's in May, so summertime. It was kind of like a slip and slide thing, but for the toddler version, and it just, you just kept the water going. And I never opened it. It's still sitting at home in a box because I'm like, that's a lot of water.
Good job,
Crystal. Water conservatory. Yeah, that's me. If you have a swimming pool, consider a new water-saving pool filter. I didn't even know what those are, but I'm definitely looking into those for this year. Are you familiar with? You're getting a pool now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it better have something good in there because we just bought it. But no, I don't know. I think if you have like an older pool that probably has equipment that hasn't been updated in a while, that would be good. But I would expect the newest stuff to be efficient.
Yeah, right. Lower your pool water level to reduce the amount of water splashed out. Use a pool cover to reduce evaporation when the pool is not being used. So those are some tips. If we are protecting our environment, it's everyone's job because we all have an impact. And although keeping our little corner of the planet clean and green may seem daunting at times, even small steps add up. So which of these steps stood out to you the most, Shannon?
I think the kitchen, because that I feel like we do the most. So, using your water in multiple ways, maybe I don't ever like fill up my sink. I just keep the water running and like wash stuff off.
I do too.
So that was like, I need to probably use less water that way. And then, the defrosting, I was like, that's usually because I'm just not always ahead of the game. All of this takes a little forethought, right? You got to plan it. So I think just
some days are better than others.
Right. Being more intentional and just thinking about it, I think could go a long way to saving water.
We want to hear from you. Send us your financial questions or money topics that you'd like to learn more about, and don't forget any fun local food recommendations. Our email is theperfectbite@ccculv.com.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode, brought to you by Clark County Credit Union. For additional money management tips and financial calculators, check out our website at ccculv.org. Now that was the perfect bite.